retirecheap.asia. As you know, I'm always trying to find people to give you their opinion of Thailand as a place to retire and hang out and get more life for less money. So I found somebody for you all to get an opinion from besides me. So we actually have one of my members here from our member site. Your name? You can just give your first name if you'd like.
Rob Thompson. That's Rob Canadian on the member site.
Yeah, so where are you from? That's an obvious...
I'm from Vancouver, Canada.
Okay, cool. I'm going to go ahead and put this here just because you have a tendency to do what I do, and that's hit the table with your hands,
sorry.
and so we'll go for the microphone. Okay. No, it's okay. Now that it's on something soft, we won't hear it. But anyway, yeah, you're actually a member of the member site, which is really cool, and I don't take it lightly, you or any other members, because it allows us to be able to go out and have the resources to keep the website going, to donate money to some charities, and to actually help out with some travel expenses to show more places where you get more life for less money. So I really appreciate you being a member. You haven't been a member for very long, though.
About 6 months now, I guess. Since March, yeah.
And so what do you think? First of all, what do you think of the site? Is that one of the things that drove you to come over?
Yeah, the site's really valuable because it not only does it have a lot of information about a lot of different topics, but it also interconnects each other. We're able to communicate back and forth. And also, one of the things I appreciated was if I had specific questions or concerns, there was what I call a subject matter expert, or somebody that actually had good knowledge, but a lot of experience here, but also understood the Thai perspective as far as a foreign or a foreigner's viewpoint, which is, I think, in my case, and I think a lot of other people, that's one of the biggest concerns. Like, okay, it's good to be sold, but it's better to have somebody that's already here that has the same questions and have the experience to validate. So it was vetted experience, thing I really appreciate. And just, the friendly fact of making connections and rapport with people long before you actually arrive.
Yeah,
so
it's one of the byproducts. It's something that I didn't really expect to happen, but I think a lot of people now come for the information, which is how it started out, and now they're staying because of the community. And a lot of our members, which is really cool, have stayed on even after they've come and lived here. So they're a wealth of knowledge, and if their lifestyle is different than mine, whether they're in a different category of their budget or they're into something I'm not into, they can share that information as well with people, which is really cool. I really appreciate. In fact, Todd, the guy that turned you on to, has been one of my members since the beginning. And so it's really cool that people hang in there and stick with us and help support other people coming along. So is this your first trip to Thailand?
It is, yeah. It's my very first trip, and certainly I'm looking forward to getting back this 2015. So really excited, and the plan is to move here actually already, so I know I want to be here. And it's,
did you know that before you came, or did you make that decision once you were here?
I was almost positive, but it's it's always good to validate it. So that assumption was based on what I heard and talked to, and my girlfriend lives here, and so it's important that to get here and to have that experience, to know, all those feelings were correct, and everything that I suspected was something that I liked. I just felt at home right away, and I think it's one of those things that you don't know until you're here. You have an idea in your head, but as soon as you arrive and you start experiencing the culture, I don't know, there's something about the general atmosphere that I really enjoy. There's a spiritual nature of just people, their calmness, and they accept life on a daily basis, which I really like. Small things, common courtesy that we just seem to have lost in Canada and the States, I would suspect.
Absolutely.
And that's actually one of the biggest things. It's reminded me to be more like I used to be, and I miss that. I miss that part of myself, and I think it's one of the things I really appreciated. And frankly, I'm excited to start planning taking an English course next year here, and starting to train.
English course of teaching English.
Yeah. So an example of that is Mike Murphy, who lives in Chiang Mai currently. has been a great resource for information that way. Again, he got a lot of his information from you, but he's also just been a really good positive kind of support network to have.
Oh, he's a crucial part of the website. He moderates our forum because I'm so busy doing a lot of things. I pop on there, go through all the questions, and try and keep track of what the conversations are.
Yeah.
But he's able to answer a lot of questions for people from his experience, which is different than mine. And he's an integral part of the website. I really appreciate his participation for sure. And he's a great guy as well. Did you meet Mike this trip?
I will, actually. Todd and I are going to head up to Chiang Mai on Saturday the 20th, and we have plans to meet him.
And today we're at the beach, and what do you think about the weather? I mean, you're coming from Canada, which this time of year is, what's the temperature there back home right now?
I left, it was about 3 Celsius.
3 Celsius.
Yeah, and so it's almost freezing at 0.
And as we can see, you're in your little crabby T-shirt, and hanging out and relaxed. And this temperature is ideal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually really nice. This is about summer temperature in Canada, in Vancouver specifically. It's about 25 to 30, so it would be the coldest point of the year. It's the warmest point of the year in Vancouver, so it's really nice. And it's actually really comfortable. I don't find it overly hot right now.
Yeah, well, when you come back next year, here in the summer, you might change your mind about that. But actually, around the beach areas where you get sea breezes, it's not bad at all. And a lot of people, especially Thai people, don't like rainy season because Thais don't like to get wet, But for me, the rainy season is welcome because we go out of the dry season, the dry, hot, really what I think is oppressive heat, and all of a sudden we start getting rains and cloud cover and stuff like that, and some breeze, and so I welcome it, and it's okay for me in the rainy season. It's something that I like. So the weather is easy to take.
Yeah,
you said the people have been friendly to you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I've experienced that I, again, forgotten is just the dedication to customer service, in the sense of just from the pure extension of who they are. It's just a natural extension of, the way they express things. And I was really touched a lot by just common courtesy, also trying to go above and beyond what we would think of as, going beyond what our normal role would be in a job. It's just a natural extension of culture. And it's, again, it's not that we don't see that in Canada, but certainly it's the exception rather than the rule. Where here, I think it's the rule rather than the exception.
Can I ask how old you are?
I'm 48 and a half now.
Wow, you're so young type.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you probably remember, the reason I asked you that question was when I grew up, life was the way it sort of is here now, and I think that's one of the reasons I welcomed, embraced the culture here, because people were more friendly. You did know your neighbors when I was a kid, Here you watch the parents with the children walk over and start playing with people, and strangers pick them up and stuff, and it's like they're not fear-based yet. We're back in the West, we're living in a fear-based society. News has helped propagate that. Bad news sells well, the fear factor, but here they don't have that yet, and it's a welcome relief. And as you say, it's funny you say to go out of their way. It's just, they're just being who they are, which is friendly for the most part. Recently there was a book written like, this was the most dangerous destination in the world for tourism, and it's like, if this is dangerous, then show me the place that isn't dangerous and is really calm and peaceful, because it's like everybody must just sit and meditate or something on a mountain, because this is pretty laid back to me. There's a few places that I call my no-fly zones. I don't know if you've caught those in a couple of my videos, where you don't want to walk off and go up to and order something and leave your camera or phone sitting at a table. But there's only a few of those places, and the rest of the country, you don't worry about it. It's like people are friendly, and they're just out living their own life and enjoying life.
Well, one of the things that really struck me is that we were watching a movie, and they actually had an advertisement talking about making sure that you switch off your cell phones, and the message was basically that it's good for you, it's good for me, it's good for your community, good for society in general. And I was just flabbergasted. I thought, wow, I mean, there's such a commitment to, doing the right thing. And I think it's refreshing and reassuring. And I think those are the types of things I always look for red flags or kind of, markers that tell me I'm going down the right path. And I think I've seen so many of those things here that it's really comforting, and I just feel at home already. And
a lot of people say I always only talk about the good things, and you just mentioned red flags. Have you had any red flags where something popped up and it caught your attention and you go, oh, I don't know about that?
Well, I think on occasion, to be honest, mostly with the Farangs. So it's the foreigners that just
said that.
Yeah, no, sorry, but it's it's just. No, again, it's an opinion, but we've had experience where, we're on a boat and this is in Krabi, went to PB Island, and it came time to kind of, tip the crew, and people were just being really stingy, like either not giving a tip at all or giving, 20 baht, which is what, in Canadian currency, about 60 cents.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think I gave, 100 baht, and still that's not a lot of money,
yeah, it's
but
like $3 or something, right. It's like,
and honestly, and beyond that, I talked to it was the crew chief and just thanked him because he was taking pictures for us, and he just really appreciated it, and I could see in his face how thankful he was just to hear that, right, to get that kind of feedback. And I think it goes to the heart of, I think, the Thai people, that really they just care about each other, but also by extension other people. And
they're very tolerant as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's things that I watch, especially, I don't want to bring it up like you, but you brought it up anyway, that foreigners will do, and it's like they're very tolerant. I watch them, just like it just rolls off their back, you think about it, it's just like, oh, that's just the way they are. They're very tolerant that way. And a lot of people will argue that and say, oh, they're just, it's just a face that they're putting on. And it's like, okay, well, if it's a face they're putting on, that's still a good thing. I mean, as opposed to bitching and complaining and being grouchy and everything like that. Even if they're just, but to me, that's part of the society. And if you understand some of the words in Thai, where they use the jai word, jai and jai di and all these things, it's about, that's ingrained in their culture. Is don't worry about the small stuff, just sort of enjoy it and let the rest of the stuff just go by. And,
I think one thing that I'm really noticing that I really appreciate is living in the moment here. It seems very, very present. It's like here's your life right here, right now. And again, it's not not so much tomorrow all the time or worried about what happened yesterday. And I think in that way there just seems to be real joy, and it's just. I've forgotten what that looks like. It's amazing.
A lot of that, what you just mentioned, it comes from inside us, and I think we actually experience it over here where we don't back home, because all of a sudden we're not so worried about, we're not being stressed out by a lot of the things that are causing us stress back home. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where you're worried about, can I pay the bills, and the pressure, social pressure that are on people to do the right thing and be politically correct on it. You let go of all that, and you just can be yourself. And I think that's refreshing, and it's actually very relaxing. And I think that's why a lot of people come over here and just fit right in and feel comfortably, because they have permission to be themselves again.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's interesting, it took a while for me to adjust, it was just, the whole principle of political correctness isn't really valid here. People just say what they mean, and they don't mean anything, like, it's just directness, right? And I think it took me a while to, it's like, oh, okay, that's just being honest and direct. And so it was one of those things that's refreshing, and it also taught me, it actually made me mature a little bit more, because I realized it's like, oh, well, if you're impacted by what's being said to you, then that's really about my own insecurity.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. That's a good distinction to make. It really is, and they don't mean it in a derogatory way when they say it too. I know a friend of mine who was taking some medication and actually caused them to swell up a little bit. And their friends saw him, hadn't seen him for a while, and they said, "You look like a toad, all swollen up from taking prednisone, and it makes your face bloat and stuff." And they said, but they didn't mean it in a negative way. Everybody laughed about it, but they just brought it to the attention. But it wasn't like, oh my God, it was a negative thing. They're making fun of me, and then it makes the person feel bad. It's not taken that way. It's just taken as an observation. And everybody laughed, and it was like, okay.
Yep.
The same thing with being overweight here. People call them pompui. Pompui is a cute way to say that you're pudgy. Kind of, that's a cute word, pudgy, and then so they do that, and they're not making fun of you. They're just bringing it everybody bringing attention to it that it's cute, or funny.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Actually, we just went to see a movie, and is it Hero 6? So there's Max, that kind of blow up figure that's a little bit of weight. What is it? Cartoon type thing. Anyhow, and it was interesting that it's an animated film. But I'd mentioned that when I came here, I feel taller, right? On average, but I also feel much fatter than I do at home because of, on average, I find Thai people very fit and certainly thin, and it's inspiring because again, they're much more conscious of what they're eating and also just the energy level, very active and always kind of, I think, energetic about life and certainly hardworking, and so there's a lot of things to respect.
Unfortunately, and I'll interrupt you here, unfortunately that's changing here. And I used to think it was all genetic, that they were all thin and were quick because of genetics, but it wasn't that. It was because of their diet. Now that they've brought in all these junk foods and processed foods, and you go into 7-Eleven or in the grocery store and big aisles filled with processed foods now. And as they start eating sugar and processed food, and sweet, a lot of sugar, it's actually changing their body shape. And so it's interesting. But the thing that you said about being taller and bigger, I don't realize how much taller I am until I get in an elevator or something, and there's mirrors, and I look, and I see the other person. It's like my belt comes up to their shoulder, and I look in the mirror and go, wow, either they're really short or I'm really tall. So, how long have you been here now?
Since the 6th, I guess. So what is it now? It's almost 18, some 12 days. Right?
12 days?
Yeah.
Almost 2 weeks?
Yeah, almost 2 weeks.
And so you've had a chance to you've experienced a few different places, and overall, as far as what you figure that you could live on as a cost of living, I know you probably haven't checked into like long-term rents yet, but as far as what you could live off of, what do you think that figure would come in at? Living comfortably in your lifestyle, is your lifestyle extravagant, or?
No, right now it's fairly basic, but it's something that I'm kind of looking at what the options are. And initially, I have to consider teacher salary, and I'm thinking, well, realistically, I should have about a $10,000 operating basis to have a security blanket that way, and then having a teacher's income here ranges from $30,000 to $50,000 baht approximately. Depends exactly where in the city. Also, rent varies too, and the type of accommodation. Typically, the school recommended a place that was fairly close. About I think it was $500 Canadian a month. And a lot of people have mentioned anywhere from $200 to $500 dollars is probably the range that you're looking at. And I think I kind of break it into phases. So the first phase would be getting established here, taking the training course, finding a teaching job, and then that opens up other possibilities to generate different income. So I'm trying to just focus on that phase and then say, okay, well, what would be the next step? How do you generate more income? And so that's the next natural kind of movement or progression to me. So
another thing that happens too once you get the job is you start meeting other teachers or other people, and so you find better deals on rent. You find once you start networking, a lot of things change as well as far as being able to make it more livable. In a lot of ways.
And I think that one of the things that you mentioned with the site, because there's so many people that are already here and they've generated secondary forms of income. And certainly my skill set, I have an IT, computer support background. I teach music right now in Canada, and language has always been one of my passions anyhow. So I think there's a lot of potential to make additional money. Again, there's some visa requirements and so on. But
This is why I was talking to you. We had this conversation yesterday, and about being able to create online income doing that, and that way you don't have to worry about it because they've been clear in immigration that you can be a digital nomad, and as long as your clients aren't here, and you can actually. And the server is serving their. This comes from actually e-commerce laws of Thailand. As long as your server's not here, your clients aren't here, you aren't working here.
Right.
And so those are the things to keep in mind for anybody that's actually thinking about doing some kind of work here, or earning an income or a secondary income. Make sure that you comply to those things, and you don't need the work permit because you officially, by their laws, aren't actually working here.
Right. Yeah. So I think. There's a lot of viable options, and certainly that's important. I think to be realistic about what the requirements are, what's realistic to start as far as getting here, getting an income. Because I think it's wise to have at least a sustainable income while you're here, unless you're here on a retirement visa.
Well, you're a young puppy.
But I'm still young. Yeah, I'm youngish. So it's I think it's
drawing that Social Security, the pensions.
Not yet. So it's I think those things are all important, and everybody's circumstances are different, and also their their perspectives are a little bit different. But it's like you said, there's always options, right? And
there's always an option.
And it's I don't know. I think there are many different things that excite me about Thailand. I think Bangkok certainly is as modern a city in many aspects. Like Todd and I were talking about the transit system, which is amazing. And frankly, it's better than Vancouver as far as the SkyTrain system. It's very fast, very efficient, really fair, well thought out. And my first time navigating was not that difficult. And I was really surprised. And it's bilingual, being in English and in Thai is very helpful. So just small things like that. Those are the kind of the signposts to me that the city I respect. There's lots of resources here. It certainly has everything you could want, and
it's not a big leap anymore.
No, it isn't actually. And the transition, Todd and I were talking with this thing that really it's like the feel in Bangkok was it's like Vancouver without the stress of keeping up with the Joneses. Not that there's not that there. That can be. And certainly you can be a part of that.
Absolutely, it's a big city.
It's a big city, but you can easily also just be comfortable with where you are at that point in your life. And I also think there's a lot of opportunity, and it's just navigating things as a Frank and how that works. And I think it's exciting. Mostly for me, I think the comfort level of being here and already feeling this relaxed is amazing. And so I have no doubt that it's the right place for me to be. It's been great. I mean, it's nice. The first time you and I met, I already felt comfortable because of just watching the videos and so on, and we had a little bit of communication back and forth, and certainly with several members, it just feels like you already have some friends and you made some connections. And also, any city you go to, generally there's a member that's already there or has been there.
Yeah, hopefully the membership and the videos takes that steep learning curve and smooths it out a little bit. I mean, people have said, hey, I've been in some of these places, it's like I've already been there because I saw it in the video. I knew what to expect, and I think that's helpful, and that's one of the reasons I do it, and it's nice when I hear that my videos have been helpful, And
Sure. Good example is Chow. So here we are, and because I've seen at least 2 videos from here that you've done, it felt more familiar to me, even though I had never been here in my life. Certainly, just coming by the beach, I was like, oh, I've seen this view before, right? So it was great, and I don't know. I think it's the one thing I'll say about the site is that try to use it as often as you can and keep up to date, which I didn't do as much in the front the first several months of my membership, but I think as the date got closer, I kind of availed myself more of the videos, looking at the different sections. The forum is excellent. Really, there's any topic you can think of, and if you can't see what you need, just post something and you'll get some really valuable insight.
Yeah, there's over 400 videos now on the site itself as far as the details of you know, medical license, insurance, all the details that you need to know for coming over. So it's a resource for people that actually want to live here, for sure, and they need that kind of information. And they're sort of like, okay, I've sort of made the decision.
Yeah.
Now I need to get a network of people, some support, you know, and detailed information on how to make it happen. You know?
So the one thing I think is really important too, though, is that having, you know, a support network here of, you know, people that you've already known, you know, whether it's through the site or just, you know, you make connections there, you're talking to these people, and you know that you can meet them. I think it gives you that sense of familiarity, though, that, you know, you talk to other natively English-speaking people, because they're going to have a very similar perspective, you know, and certainly I think that is important, you know, not to just jump into it without having some kind of support network.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. And you come over alone and put your bag down and go, okay, now what? You know?
Yeah, and I mean, Todd,
you've already got plans to meet somebody, hook up with somebody, or you got their phone number to be able to call them and stuff. It makes a big difference.
Yeah, no, and Todd and I, you know, we've been friends for a long time, and he's also been great as far as introducing me to different people that are in different cities already, and then traveling around. We've already set up, you know, meetups with people just to go and do some things, and it's been great. And certainly, I think in some ways it's like just affirming different friendships too. And so, yeah, you know, I think the site is really important to make the commitment. Just, you know, jump into it and do it. I certainly haven't regretted it, and I'm really grateful that I'm here. And I really believe it's changed my life as well. You know, it really feels like I've moved to a different phase of my life. So I'm pretty excited.
It will be. You know, it's like one door's going to close, another one's going to open. That's for sure. And hopefully it'll be real fulfilling for you, and you'll be able to spend a lot of time over here and have a comfortable, in a lot of different ways, comfortable lifestyle. You know.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be pretty exciting, and so it's, you know, I think. I'm really grateful for the site and all the work that you've done, and, you know, I think it's I'd certainly intend to stay as a member, and yeah, anything that I can kind of give back as far as support for the site and also other members, if there's anything I can do, certainly I'll be happy to do that as well.
Well, it's been a pleasure to meet you. You know, a lot of people, you know, I communicate with, and I see them on the site, and then it takes a while before I actually get a chance to actually meet them in person. But it's great to put faces with the contact and the information and you know, the communication. So it's great. I'm glad things are working out for you. I'm glad Todd was able to get you over and get you interested in all this. So it's good. Very good. yeah. You got to give him his money now.
That's right. That's Todd.
Yeah. But anyway, thanks again for also sharing with everybody your experience and your ideas and thoughts. And it's always important for me to have other people talk about their experiences as well. So thanks again. Thanks for being part of our site, and thanks for sharing with everybody on through the video as well.
Great. Thanks, JC.
So remember, when it comes to living in Thailand, there's what?
It's always an option.
Always an option. All right. JC and Rob out. Take care. See ya.